Hi, my name is Marcus Trice, and this is for BBS 200 7695 Advanced Ballistics. One of my favorite classes, I'll have to say. I reload, and so this particular question for week 2, assignment 1, I actually have quite a bit of experience, and I was happy to read some of the things that I implement and do to maintain a safe work environment, and which extends from the reloading all the way to the range and shooting. So if you've adhered to the safety precautions, then you should be good from beginning point all the way to the ending point when you're shooting. So the question is the safety procedures related to reloading based upon this reading this week. And I'm going to read a little list here that I've compiled, and there's basically several basic rules. One of them that, and I make sure that I have my reading glasses, and that's read the load data carefully. I have a few loading manuals. I think it's like Hornady, Lee, and there's another one. You want to read them carefully and make sure that you're adhering to them, because if you load too much powder in, you could create higher pressures in that particular cartridge, which could create an overpressure in the chamber and maybe even explode your firearm, and that could cause some injuries to you. Keep records, and that's something that I do. I actually keep records myself on the boxes that I reload. I put all the reloading data on the boxes, and then also I keep a binder, and each time I reload, I write down the powder, the primer, the cases. Hopefully, if I can keep them separated, like twice fired, once fired cases, that is. And then also the bullet weight, the manufacturer of the bullet even, and obviously the gunpowder, what kind of gunpowder it is. And a big one is you want to lock up and put out of sight powder, primers, and lead projectiles. And the main concern would be if a small child came in and started picking up lead bullets, even though they're jacketed, they're open in the back, and that's lead, and they could get lead poisoning. Also, the gunpowder, they could spill it, and that would be everywhere. And maybe it spilt on something that could ignite it. That could be a problem. Always wear safety glasses or goggles, which is important, and I'll tell you why you're while you're priming. When you're priming, there's a potential that you could actually detonate the primer as you're pressing it into the case, and that's going to come up into your face. Avoid ingestion into the body, the powder, the gunpowder, that is, and what I try to do is make sure that I'm, not spilling it, not fluffing it, keeping it down low on the bench where I'm using it. And then after that, after I've reloaded, say 50 cartridges, if I'm done, when I leave, luckily I have a bathroom right next to where I reload in my garage, and I can go out and I wash my hands and I make sure that I don't have residue on my hands. I actually will change my shirt if I've been out there for a while, because I fear that I may have gotten something on my clothing. And this one's an easy one. Don't smoke. I don't smoke, but yeah, don't smoke when you're reloading. I have a friend who's an FFL, and luckily he just stopped smoking, and he reloaded, and he smoked, and so that's terrible. Anyway, also, you don't want to be, like if I'm in my garage, I'm not going to have like a propane heater with an open flame. You got gunpowder around. And also anything else that's potentially could be creating a spark or, again, a flame. You don't want that near gunpowder. It's like being with gasoline. You don't want a spark or flame. That could be a large explosion, and that would be bad. Primer should be handled with care due to the nature and explosive. If you strike it, they could potentially explode. even though it's small, but you could get some sort of shrapnel on you. So you be handling with care. Don't drop them on the floor, bang them, step on them. Only use the amount of powder for your intended reloading processes. And that kind of falls into, I guess, make sure that you're not mixing up the bottles. I think that's one of the other ones I have listed here. You don't want to dump out, like say if you have a gunpowder in a press, you don't want to put too much in there, and now you're left with it, and it's, believe it or not, it's kind of hard to get it out once you got it in there, and then you don't want to have different types of gunpowder on the table, and you mixing them up, and like, which one did I just put in there? And that could be bad. And the next one on here, clean up your spills of powder. Do not use a vacuum cleaner, and never use a vacuum cleaner for primers. And I keep a old school dustpan and broom, and a little dustpan brush or whatever. And if I do spill anything, that's what I do. I sweep it up. When measuring your powder for your loads, make sure to check frequently to ensure consistent loading for each casing. I take a little flashlight. When I'm loading, I'm looking in there. Every couple, I'll remeasure. I'm very paranoid that I'm going to double charge a case, and that could be a problem. When reloading for shotgun shells, which I haven't done, I actually have the equipment, I haven't done it yet. Use the correct loading data. Do not cross the powder load information with for steel balls versus like lead balls, which I don't think I would load steel. It would only be lead. But basically, if you're loading for steel, you would use one set of measures for the powder, and if you're loading for lead, you would use another load of powder. So don't mix those up. Always use the correct powder type when reloading. Do not mix and match black powder with smokeless powder. Luckily, I don't have any black powder, but I do have that muzzle loader that I did for the class, the Shenandoah muzzle loader. But for that, I'm not even going to use black powder. I'm going to use smokeless powder. So, yeah, so you don't want to mix the two up. That could be bad. Make sure the primers that you are using are for the specific type of cartridge. I know that some people will play around with using, because you have pistol primers and you have rifle primers, but you have like small and large, and you have Magnum, and then again with pistol, like large, small, Magnum, and some people will mix and match. I don't mix and match. I use the specific primers for the specific cartridge based on the load data from the books. Never mix powders or make substitutions from load data. And I guess that's basically saying that, while you may have one particular powder and you're going through, and all of a sudden you're like, I think I'm going to switch the powder, that's not listed in the book, and I'm going to use something different because maybe I ran out, and that's probably a bad idea too. When loading, use the stated load data from your books. Do not underload. You may end up with a squib, or overload. You may cause overpressures in the barrel, and that actually is a fear. Squib. I've never had a squib, but you can be shooting and you don't have enough powder in the cartridge, and you get a small detonation, small explosion, and the round is lodged in the barrel, and then you shoot the next following round, and then you have a problem. You have one bullet running into another bullet jammed in the barrel. Focus on when loading. It's very important to avoid distractions that could cause you to lose track of your process, and you may double charge a case. I try to go and load at night when no one's awake, maybe, or when no one's home. And I try to I'm quiet. I don't have music on. I'm just in my own little world, and it's very therapeutic. Always be in a ventilated area while reloading to avoid toxins for the powder or the lead exposure, which is true. I try to, I have a garage. I'll crack the garage, not enough to create wind, but enough to have some airflow in there, because you wouldn't want to be in a closet loading with gunpowder, and then also with a lot of lead. If you were maybe using a lot of non-jacketed rounds, you've got bits of lead coming off, and you could potentially inhale it if there's not good ventilation. But anyway, so those are the safety procedures / warnings. When you're reloading, if you do it correctly and you follow the set safety standards or procedures, you should avoid any kind of problems or accidents, again, from when you start all the way to the finished process of when you're actually on the range. Because when you're reloading, you know, obviously it's a whole range from reloading to pulling the trigger on the range, and you will receive the fruits of your labor on the range from your reloading. Again, thank you for watching the video. I did a video instead of actually writing this because of my personal experience with reloading. Thank you.